a regular guy who bought. Oh, you're okay. I'm just a regular guy who bought a property like 8 years ago to live in it, and now I rent it and I make passive income. And then all of a sudden, I realized that I have equity, something that I didn't even know what it was a while ago.
Yeah, Donna was asking if there's a cap on your interest rate on that.
Yeah, I believe. Yes. Let me look at it. I think I cannot go past 8 or something like that. I read it in some of the terms, on one of the terms. Yeah, there's a maximum interest that I will pay for it, but after that, it won't go past that.
Yeah, I mean, for a small amount, 40-something $1,000 in a HELOC, and especially it's a HELOC usually, there's more, it's a little bit more favorable rates. But when it comes to like multifamily, things like that, sometimes you're going to have to buy. All right, so this is something that we could talk about if this conversation comes up tonight is, buying there's a max cap that a lot of lenders will allow you to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, but that should do enough, right? So this will be the second property that I will buy, and I still qualify for what is it called? FHA.
FHA, okay.
Yeah.
So you want to use an FHA for this next deal?
Yeah, I will use an FHA for the next deal, and it should be enough. It should be enough.
Yeah. What's your goal for investing?
Cash flow. I want cash flow, and of course, in the long run, equity. Something that I could accumulate enough properties that I could have enough equity so that I could retire later and make more than a 401k of.
Sorry about that. Smart. Cool. Okay. So let's officially get this call started. Thank you, Franco, for starting that conversation off for us.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody. I'm sure people will still be hopping on and hopping out, whatever. But I'm grateful that you guys are here. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. And I really appreciate that. Every week, there's people in here that benefit and create value for yourselves on here. And definitely for me, this is my passion, is to teach the things that have worked for me, and a little bit for anybody that is new on this call. My name is Alex, and I have used real estate. Real estate has saved my ass so many times, but mainly real estate has been a place where I have been able to create freedom, financial freedom. And oftentimes when we think about financial freedom, we think about the financial part, like, oh, what do I got to do financially? But really what we want to focus on is the freedom part, what it allows you to do, what money allows you to do. And there are so many, for me, last year, I got to, live in Peru. I'm actually in Peru right now, but I got to live in Peru. And from living in Peru, the whole year that I was here, not only did my net worth grow, my income grow, everything grew, and I was just here learning music. So I wanted to teach this process. This is a process that can work for everybody too. But first, we need to get the mindset right. Okay, there's a lot of, so many people talk about when I love what you're doing. People say this to me all the time. I love what you're doing. I can't wait to be on your calls, but let me wait till I have the money to do it. And oftentimes that conversation goes on for many, many years. People say, hey, when I have the money, I'm going to start to invest. When I have the money, I will come and learn from, the things that you share. And years later, we're still in the same place. And the upside down thinking of financial freedom actually requires you to take action first, for you to get your mindset right, for you to prepare yourself, have a game plan, because when you have a game plan, it's more feasible for you to get to the place that you want to get to. And when you start to surround yourself with the conversation, more often than not, people realize that they're actually closer than they think to whatever their goal is. So if it's to create $5,000 a month in passive income, if it's to create 10, 20, whatever it is, if you have no sense at all of how to get there, but you're just like, I'm going to start learning once I have $50,000, I have $100,000. It doesn't really work like that, because when we don't put our focus and we don't surround ourselves with this conversation, that money just kind of leaks in all different places. The discipline becomes lack. There's a lack of discipline that is there when we don't surround ourselves with these people. So that's actually one of the pillars that I'm writing in my book is proximity. Surrounding yourself with the conversation. What is your support system? So I've made my career and I made my life out of real estate. And there's been points in my life where, I decided to take on a different business venture, lost my shirt, lost everything. And real estate on the back end saved me. Real estate I believe is one of the most powerful, actually, I would say that it is probably the most powerful vehicle there is to generate wealth. And, there are so many different ways to do real estate. So this call, I do want to open it up in the very beginning for questions, where you're at, how you're stuck, where do you think you're stuck, that maybe you're not. And I want to open that up so that this conversation is organically going towards somewhere. I have things that on my list that I want to talk about. However, you guys being here, I want to honor your time. So I really want to be able to, start with the questions rather than end with the questions. And no question is too dumb. I just want to share that, when it comes to real estate and when it comes to this mastermind, it is focused on supporting people. Doesn't matter where you're at, and every single one of us is a student to somebody else, and every single one of us is a student to the game. And so I would just invite everybody to also be kind in your thoughts, be kind in your words. When people ask questions, if it's something so simple as like, people might not even understand anything about mortgages, loans, buying a property. And if we are a little bit ahead in the game, let's extend our hand out and to support and to, for anybody that might need a hand, right? So that's the goal here, because as we help people, we will know that, okay, the more that I do these calls and the more people reach out to me for support and for questions, the more it actually pushes me to look for mentors myself, to up my game to the next level. And, it's kind of like a cycle that we get to be a part of. And so I want to invite, if you have any questions, obviously being on this call, there's a reason why you're on this call. Let's not make this call like a Alex, you do me call, but like, I'm going to create value here because there are things that are blockages to me, and be here to get the answers for it. All right. That's the attitude I want to invite everybody to hear. So yeah, I'll open it up for anybody. The easiest way to do this is to click on your button at the bottom that says reactions in your Zoom, and you can raise your hand and then I'll call on you guys. Excuse my cough because I'm allergic to cats and there's 3 of them around me. But we will overcome that.
Hey,
all right, so Franco, go ahead. You're first. Franco's going to ask the question first.
Awesome. Thank you guys. You made a post, I think it was today. Well, I saw it today, where it says that a house that it's worth over $500,000 with what is it? 3% interest rate.
Yeah, so the post goes like this: a $500,000 property at 3% interest rate is the same monthly payment as a $340,000 property at a 6.3% interest rate.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what's the question?
My question is, how do you manage the interest rate? Is there any way that to get a lower interest rate for a bigger property, or is it just an example in the opportunity that person had, like years ago versus today, let's say?
So that post was to show you guys, that interest rates are high right now. And also, if you look at it from like a 30,000 feet angle, it shows you why there's going to be a lot of good deals in the market coming up. Because people that once was able to afford $500,000 now can only afford $340,000. So if you ask some of the mortgage brokers out there, they'll probably tell you, and bankers, that about 70% of the deals in the last couple of months have fell through. Deals that were in contract, because they'll change their rates in the middle of, sometimes being in contract if it's not locked in. Or if it takes a little bit longer, the rates go up. Now they can no longer qualify for that price. And now it falls out of contract. Sellers already had a plan for the money. And now 30 more days go by and sellers get desperate. So there's a lot of things happening in the market because of that. Now I want you to think, okay, here's the mindset around this, because most people are like, oh man, interest rates are too high. Now I can't afford it. Now I can't do it. I was qualified for a $300,000 property. Now it's only, 190, 200. And what can I even buy in this market for that price? Really nothing, right? So don't lock your mind into owning what you can afford. Continue to work on analyzing deals. Okay. Does it make sense? Even with the interest rate at a certain level, can the property sustain itself? And weather the market right now? Because a couple of years down the road, there's going to probably be an opportunity to refinance out of the high interest rate. And now you're going to have a better cash flow on the property. So there's a lot of when people, when majority of the people are thinking this is not the time to buy because interest rates are too high, it presents us with an opportunity to, find some really great deals. This is why I encourage everybody in the next 3-4 months. And my mentor, Grant Cardone, also says the same thing. And it kind of applies always, and always doesn't matter what the market is that you got to learn to analyze properties, learn to analyze markets, become an expert in the market, because this is the time that we really get to learn. You analyze deals when interest rates are low and everybody's, you can't even buy a property, to now interest rates high, you're still learning to analyze properties. And now, but you see the market moving. This is where you're going to really learn about deals, market trends, the market that you want to focus on. All of that is why we constantly analyze deals. And you always do it. Doesn't matter what the market is. Doesn't matter if you can't afford it right now, you think you can, or you think you can't. All of that doesn't matter. So I wouldn't be so focused on trying to get the lowest interest rates right now, but continue to look at properties, because there are properties out there that are going to start coming up on the market. It's all going to say price reduced, price reduced, price reduced. That means they're going to be willing to take any offer that you make. They'll be willing to look at it. And there's going to be so many great opportunities in the next 15 months, 18 months, as the market is contracting, to find some really great deals. And don't lock yourself in on this is all I can afford, because if you can find a great deal, there is plenty of money out there that is ready to be deployed into real estate deals. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Franco. If anybody wants to add to that conversation, you can just unmute yourself and share.
Alex, I just wanted to get that saying you said again, 500,000 at what interest rate? What was it again?
So $500,000 at 3% interest rate. It has the same monthly payments as a $360,000 property at a 6.3% interest rate. So this is why people were able to afford $500,000 on a property, and then all of a sudden the interest rates shot up to six, some even 7, you know. And now they're like, now the bank's coming back and saying, hey, you can no longer afford this $500,000 property. So even the banks itself are tightening the way that they're offering their loans. There are so many different terms that they're kind of like reneging on, you know. So yeah, you guys will see it as you know are in the real estate game and you become more savvy or more experienced.
Yeah, Alex Sestana, I do have a question. So if you're just sort of practicing walking the deals, like what are the best place to find the deals? I mean, are you actually going after real deals, or are you going after, you know,
Yeah.
where do you recommend finding deals to walk through?
So for the sake of practicing, I would say, you know, anything that you find on the internet, you can practice running the numbers with. Now, I will run the numbers in this way. I will run it to the point where you would say, okay, this deal now makes sense. Because a lot of deals that you're going to see on the internet, it's already been passed on by tons of people. So how can you make it a good deal is really the exercise with deals that are on the market, I would say. And if you want to start to find pocket listings, deals that hasn't gone on the market, this is where you start to develop relationships with brokers. And to do that, you will need to you'll need to begin to learn to leverage everything. Leverage all that you have, your credentials, leverage anything that you are a part of. Anybody that is potentially going to be your partner, okay, leverage their track record too. You know, and I'll share a quick story of how I leveraged to the place where I am right now. So I wasn't doing commercial real estate before I joined Grant Cardone's mastermind group. I've done some smaller ones. I had about 25 units like under my belt, you know, of really great income generating properties. And I started messaging brokers. No responses for a while. And I'm like, dude, even a good friend of mine referred me to his brother, and his brother was too busy to answer me, you know, because all I was saying was, hey, you know, this is Alex. I have some real estate experience. I'm looking to buy deals this, you know, 32 doors, this amount of price, and I can close it. Still didn't even get a response, you know. And then after I joined Grant's mastermind and been coaching with Grant and being around him and his conversations, he's like, listen, leverage me all you want. Leverage my name, leverage anything that you can. So I was like, okay. I started messaging brokers and I said, hey, I'm part of Grant Cardone's exclusive platinum mastermind. I mean, I don't even think he names it that, but I wanted to make it pop. I wanted to leverage this mastermind as much as I can. And I'm very involved in the group. You know, I talk to a lot of the people in there that are closing deals. So I know their deals, right? I know their deals. And so I'm like, okay, these are the deals that, you know, we've closed. I represent this group. We just closed a 200 unit here. We just closed a 40 unit here, 80 unit here. And now people are interested because A, they know Grant Cardone's name, and B, I was able to throw some of these deals that were closed by people in the mastermind, not necessarily me, right? And I'm leveraging it. This is what I'm doing. I'm leveraging it. I'm not lying, but I'm leveraging. Okay, there's a difference between lying and leveraging. So from there, we were able to get some traction. People are like, okay, we'll check you out. We know Grant Cardone. We like this platinum exclusive mastermind that you're part of, right? Here, we'll give you some deals to look at. Now I have some exclusive deals. With the exclusive deals, I leverage my relationship with this broker, and I got some partners that wanted to be a part of what I'm doing. You know, partners that's got 700 units, 2,000 units. Now they're like, ooh, I'm interested. How are you getting these deals? I'm like, this is my connections, right? So I'm leveraging that. And now I got some partners. I leverage my partner's track record. Yeah, you know, my partners, he's got 2,000 units. My other partner who's worth, $15 million, he's got $15 million net worth. He's also got 1,500 units under his belt. Leverage. And this is why it's so important for us to get this in our mind, is that partnerships are the answer to everything that you ever want. Anything that you want to create, all you have to do is find a partner and learn to leverage. So, I've gotten to a point where myself and some of my associates I'm working with and partnering with, we've pitched Jay-Z's Rockefeller Fund, $4.6 billion. And because I even pitched that, I leveraged me pitching Jay-Z's Rockefeller Fund to other big time brokers. Now I'm literally on the phone trying to make a deal happen with the president of, big brokers who's got exclusive deals. I'm like, I need to see those deals. I got these guys. I got Jay-Z, Rockefeller. I got these billionaires on this side. I don't really know what's going to come to fruition, but if I could close one of those deals and be in the middle of it, you can bet that I will leverage the shit out of that. And people like Grant Cardone will be doing business with me on deals. This is leveraging. How far is each one of us from even that? That was my journey, my example of leverage. And yeah, so who has that question? Donna? I would say start to build relationships with brokers, especially in this time. Brokers are more willing to listen than 4 months ago. I have brokers reaching out to me about deals that I inquired about that they weren't even going to entertain asking price. They're like, here's the whisper price. I'm like, so if I put in an LOI for whisper price, what's going to happen? They're like, yeah, we're probably not going to accept that. We're expecting $10-15 million over this price. I'm like, okay, so why are you telling me this whisper price? And then now, 5-6 months later, those deals fell out of contract. And I'm getting messages like, hey, if you want to offer anything that you want to offer, we will take a look at. Just submit an LOI. They want to look good to their sellers. So today, moving forward, there's great opportunities to establish new relationships with brokers because they're willing to listen. They're looking for anybody that might be able to take down the deal that they have because they have a duty to their sellers. And those deals have fallen out. So sellers are even willing to take $5, $10, $15, $20 million less than what they were going to take before. So as far as how do you find deals to practice with, find them online. Now, if you want to start doing something real, start any one of those deals. You'll see a broker's name on the bottom. Reach out to them and set a goal for yourself. Reach out to 5 a day. And people that I coach, I'm like, I don't even worry about the results of the calls. I want you to just make those calls, 5 calls. Here are some of the questions that you can ask. You might sound so stupid and inauthentic in the beginning, but I guarantee by your 15th, 20th call, this is going to be something that's super easy and natural for you. So yeah, CBRE Deal Flow, that's a great place as well. Okay, who's next? Bernie, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Alex? How you doing?
Good. Good to have you.
Good to see you, man. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
So I have a question. My team has found a property in Kissimmee. It's a 72 unit deal. And it's townhouses, 3 and 4 bedrooms. It's about $400 and something under market value. We actually just put our LOI in last night. It was actually due last Wednesday, but we've been going back and forth with the broker, and they said today was their call with the owner to go through everything. But going through the underwriting, we're coming in low on our cash on cash returns.
Yeah.
So my question is, what can we do to build that up?
Yeah, so there's many ways to figure out how you can increase the cash on cash. First, how are the rents below market? You said they're $400 below market?
They're about $450 below market, and they actually just renewed 2 leases at market, like in this last month, after the broker told them, hey, you guys are below, after we, did a little research and talked to the broker about it. So boom, we saw, it happened.
One way is to increase the income. The other way is to decrease the monthly expense. So what kind of loan do you have on this deal?
We are looking at not a bridge loan, the other one is I'm drawing a blank.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, but so what's the terms of the loan?
Well, I mean, we don't have a loan. We just put the LOI in.
Okay, so you should, if you're going to be shopping loans, this is good actually. When you're shopping loans, you want to look for, obviously interest only, because when you look at interest only, you're going to have your cash flow be higher. The time frame of the interest only is pretty important right now.
Okay.
It's going to be hard to find something more than 24 months at this right here, right now. But if you're able to get that, that's a plus, because it gives you time to increase the income of the property, which will increase the cash flow. Because by increasing the property by the rents by $450 a unit, that is going to definitely increase cash flow for you and your partners and your investors. Okay. Now, what does your cash on cash look like for your investors? Like if you were going to ask me to invest, like what is the returns that you're looking at?
Well, the overall returns were like in the high 20s, I think, per year, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Hold on one second. But the cash on cash for some reason was like extremely low. And it's, I believe, because when we did the underwriting, we were using the current expenses, and they have some crazy expenses in there. Like they have $32,000 a year every time they lease the place. They're hiring a law firm to do each individual lease. They're doing background checks. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to open it as we speak. Give me one second. And of course, I don't have my glasses. Denise,
I have a question.
Good.
Do they have a property manager in place?
They do have a property manager, and they're actually paying them $121,000 a year, which is crazy. I mean, it's an out of the country group. This is their smallest property they own in this area. There's no other properties around. So I mean, they're getting raped on a couple different corners. Yeah,
I wouldn't go too aggressive on shifting their expenses. Okay, there's a reason why their expenses at the place it's at. I would figure out how to make the numbers make sense. So do you have the gross income on this property?
I'm trying to open it right now. Give me one second. It's like, I want to say, hold on. It's 21 and some change. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
Laptop.
So this is for anybody that is interested in learning multifamily investing. Okay. While we wait, I'm going to just give you guys some some points about multifamily investing. Just some positives, I guess, some reasons why multifamily is really great. Large ones, especially anything over 32 units. The cash flow, obviously is good. Appreciation does not depend on how the market is doing. It actually depends strictly on how much income you can generate on this property. Principal reduction, if you have, you know, a loan that has principal on it, but most of the times on these types of deals, you are looking for as high of a cash flow as you can, raising rents, refinancing the money back out, and just kind of doing that process over and over again. There are great ways when you are the general partners, which you can make acquisition fees, you can make asset management fees, exit fees, you know, exit meaning like every time that you refinance a property, there's an exit fee that you can also charge. Depreciation and a lot of other tax benefits. Basically any income and refinance that you make on these deals is all going to be tax-free. So with more units, you know, usually units that are smaller, on the smaller side, like 2 to 4 units, you have duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes. They do seem to be less intimidating to get into, but oftentimes it's very intensive mentally and also physically. You got to do a lot of the work. And obviously if you make mistakes, they're smaller mistakes, but they're usually much more competitive, harder to get good cash flow on those, management intensive. Also you're capped at 10 mortgages that you can have on those types of deals. So on large multifamily deals, you have economy of scale, meaning that the larger the number of units that you have, the more you can outsource day-to-day operations. And sometimes when it's large enough, you can actually have on-site management, you know, and that's eventually what you want to get to, because that's how you really have passive income. So when you're buying small units, they're not passive. They're actually going to be a lot of headache for you. So go ahead, Bernie. Did you find your numbers?
Okay, so what was your question? Was it gross scheduled rents? What was your question?
Yeah, so what's the gross rent for this place?
1,246,200.
Okay, and then what do they have for the total expenses?
Total expenses are 468,182.
So 1,400,000 what is the gross?
1,246,200.
Okay, so 1.24 million. And then you have your expenses at 400 something thousand.
486,182. This is the seller's numbers.
Okay, now when you guys did your underwriting, what do you have your expenses at?
Okay, we have our expenses at $204,000.
So I'm going to tell you right now, that is way too low. The total expenses on this property should be $500,000, $600,000. All right, nobody is going to be managing. You're not going to be able to get this property and have management at $200 something thousand, which is 1.2.
What year was the property built?
One building was 2009, 2 were 2012, 2 were 2013, and the other 4 were 2014.
Yeah, you're not going to be managing this property at 16-17% expenses. Like that is just not happening on any deals, like anywhere in the country.
Okay.
So
So we need to bump some of our numbers up because we went down on like the contract numbers, admin numbers.
Okay, well, let's Gunther is one of my partners and he's also very savvy in this place too. So I'm gonna let him speak right here.
Okay. Hey guys, just a quick thing here, Bernie. I appreciate sharing with from you. So I'm a multifamily syndicator. I just closed on 500 units in Orlando. So you're in Kissimmee. How many units did you say is your property?
72.
72. Okay. The first thing is what Alex just said is absolutely correct. It's anywhere between 45 and 55% of the gross income, of the net income is really operating expenses, basically 50%.
Mhm.
Regardless what property, a larger or a smaller one, that's just a fact. The next thing is, I can help you out. Are you absolutely sure that you can raise the rents today's it's $400, the bump? Are you sure about that?
Yes, because actually when we rechecked something yesterday, we can actually go to like 600 and change, but we said, you know what, let's just stay with that 400 level because that's what they're renewing leases at. They just renewed 2 leases at that.
Mhm.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
What is the purchase price of the 72 units?
They're asking 21 million. The whisper price they said was between 20 to 21.
Okay. Alex, from Grant Cardone, did you learn the rule how to create equity in this deal? Did you know the formula? Do you
How to
know
create what?
how you create the equity to pay back to the limited partners in this type of deal when you can create $400 bumps with 72 units?
Yeah, what cap rate are you getting this at?
We were told 4.1 is what the cap rate is by the broker.
All right, so let's just say you raise it by $400 per unit.
Okay.
Times, so this is the way you guys want to do the math here. So you have $400 a unit that you're gonna raise, okay, times 72 units, okay, times 12 months, times 0.9, which is the occupancy rate. So you're gonna increase the overall NOI of this property by $311,000. And if
Okay.
you take the cap rate and divide that by the $311,000, that's going to give you a new additive valuation. So let me just see what that is. 0.41 times, oops.
So that calculation comes to 311,040, and then you said divide it by the cap rate.
Yeah.
So 0.041.
So you're going to increase the evaluation of this building by $7.5 million.
Okay.
And what's your total? So if you're buying this building for 21 million, it's going to cost you somewhere around $8 to $9 million that you got to raise. Yeah. 7, 8 million.
Correct.
So when you increase the value of this, the rents on this property, $400 per unit, for 72 units, you will get, the banks will give you a new reevaluation on this property of an extra 7.5 million. So that's almost 100% of the equity of what you are raising. So that is part of why commercial real estate is super appealing, is the fact that when you buy undervalued properties that are charging below rent, you can gain as you switch the properties out. I mean, the units out for more for the market rents, you will be able to create a new evaluation for this building. So Gunther, I know you just asked me if I.
Yeah, so the reason I ask you, Alex, I have a little bit of a different formula, but it's correct. So I just wanted to make sure you and I at the same boat here. So what I propose here, and my apologies, I really have to leave in a few minutes to my next meeting, but I would be I think $300,000 unit purchase price is a little bit high in that area there, especially in Kissimmee. However, when I can buy this for, what is the whisper price? 20 million, you say?
They're
21.
saying 20 million, and they told us if we come in the high teens, that we would be okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So let me do, when you need any help, Alex, you're the initiator here. I'm very interested in that myself. The reason why, the way I really work my deals is I be a little bit more conservative. However, Alex said $7.5 million. Let's say I know what the capex gonna be. I know my calculation would be $6 million equity increase, a little bit less than Alex. However, I know this deal can work. When you wanna make an offer, you need make an LOI, need any help, or Alex, I really jump on this deal immediately, because the equity I need to raise for this deal, I can pay back in 2 years because of the rent bumps. So that's the way I usually do my deals. And that's how you create the equity. That's the most important thing. The $6 or $7 million equity, that's where your money is. You pay back and you're all in debt free after 2.5 years.
Yeah. So real quick, let me just jump in before Anna. So it's not Anna, obviously, that's on Anna Martinez, but
So I want to find out, how can we have a call between you and Gunter? Because my team would definitely be interested in speaking to you guys.
I'll set this up tomorrow, but I'm just going to give you a quick napkin underwrite. Everybody here can benefit from learning this formula real quick. So you're paying $21 million for this property. This property's got a $1.2 million gross. Okay. So let's just say, okay, you want to do a napkin underwriting, 50% expenses. So you have $600,000 as your NOI, your net operating income. You divide that number into the 21 million. This is actually a 2.85 cap. All right. So I want you to be able to do the math really quickly. This way, when they tell you 4.1 and they're giving you some bogus 480K management, and that you have an $800-something thousand NOI, that is probably not the case. Okay. Let me see what this chat says. Yeah. Actually, to make it even more accurate, you got to take 90% of the gross income or the gross income, just for vacancy. Banks will allow you to do 95%, if your deal has been performing, but you want to be as conservative as you can when you're doing underwriting. But just a really quick off the bat, if you just had napkin underwriting, you would know that $21 million is definitely not the number that you should be offering in your LOI, because at a 2.8% cap on this deal, you're going to get an interest rate of 5+ at this point. You're going to be actually in the negative cash flow for this property.
Okay.
Hey,
All
what
right,
were you? Do you want to try one thing too? Le tengo la que faría.
Jonathan.
Jonathan, mute.
I'm afraid of Nelushka.
Let me mute him. So so you might have a hard time getting anybody to give you a loan on this deal at 21 million. Because
we went 20% below 16.8, and then we ran some numbers yesterday with a couple of people, and we actually put in our LOI 15.5, because they said if you were in your teens, you guys would be okay.
Yes.
Now, we reached out to them this afternoon, and they said, hey, the number needs to be 18 and above. So we said, okay, if we resubmit it to 18, are there any other changes you would like us to make on the LOI? And as of an hour ago, when I checked, they hadn't responded back yet. So that's where we're at as of right now.
Yeah, I would, where the market is right now, you dictate this negotiation,
Right.
Like maybe a couple months ago, sellers and seller brokers will dictate, but where we are right now, don't be afraid to just let this deal go and let it sit, because if it's not going to work out for you at 18 million, it's not going to work out for the next person going in at 20 million and 19 million. And
Right.
it's actually probably good to watch them submit an LOI for 20 million, try to get into contract and fall out, and then having the broker reach back out to you and be like, you know what, after doing some math, maybe I'm going to come in at 14.5 million.
Right.
You know, whatever. I mean, if you can grab that deal at 14 something million, that is going to be a great deal for you. You know, in the beginning, maybe you struggle a little bit with the cash on cash return, but once you raise these rents and you get a $6-7 million increase in valuation, you go back to the bank, maybe the times, 2 years down the road, you might even get better terms from the bank, and you're going to be able to cash out a lot more money. So
Right.
This deal could be a great deal. But I'll tell you right now, 20 million, 18 million, 17 million, just from what you're sharing with me, I don't think this is a good deal. I think this is a deal that it's going to be really hard on you guys. And, last thing you want to do is have investors invest in and you not being able to meet the numbers that you want.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we'll talk more about this deal offline, but thank you for bringing that up and giving us the opportunity to kind of go through a little bit for anybody in here that's interested in multifamilies like that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I know I had reached out to you yesterday, and I know you were running around town busy.
Yeah, so I'm in Peru right now, so Wi-Fi is a little bit iffy wherever we are. So, but I will put you in
Vacation?
touch with Gunther. Gunther is a wealth of knowledge, and he knows that market really well. So I'll put you guys in touch.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, if it, I hope it works out. Anything that I can support you with, I'll do the best I can.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Travis, go for it.
What's going on, Bob? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I had 2 questions. I apologize for the inconvenience of it all. I'm kind of new to it all. Alex is the man, as you all know. I have currently 3 properties. I want 20 properties. What is my next best deal? Because currently I feel like it's only 20% down.
It's only what?
20% down because it's going to be a second property.
Yeah. So first thing is, every single one of my deals that I buy, where I am now is I always have 20+% in the equity. Okay, to put down, because you don't want to be over leveraged, especially with what the market's doing and the banks are being, really, really strict on the way they're doing everything,
right?
Tightening up the way that they're giving loans. 20%, you should always keep it around that number. You're going to have the best loans at that rate, especially for single family homes or duplexes, whatever you're trying to buy. You're going to get the best rate at that price. Also, your cash flow will be better. And then when you go back to refi in a couple years, it's going to support you in getting the most amount of money out that you can as well. Now, as far as what you are buying, what are you looking to get?
Honestly, because I have 2 properties and they're both single family residents, I want to get into either multifamily, but now listening to what you guys talked about today, I don't want to really deal with 1 to 4. Maybe I can get on a deal with 20 to 40 properties on an apartment. But honestly, my next property, I'm thinking on an international property. So I don't know how to buy international. And that's why I kind of jumped on this.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're buying single family homes, in my experience and in the people that I've worked with, I know about 10. This is why actually the banks only give you like a 10 cap on you. They give you a cap of 10 mortgages on single family homes, anything smaller than 4 units, because they know you can't actually handle more than that.
I can handle it.
I mean, this is the problem. Think about it. You have 2 right now, okay? If you take the amount of work you have on these 2 and you multiply that by 10, like what is your capacity to be able to do that? And I know you got a full-time job already. You run a full-time business.
I'm a handyman.
Yeah, so you got a full-time business. And when we think about real estate investing, we also really want to think about, this is the mindset that we have to shift. I need to buy my time back, not to invest my money and my time into something. All right, time is our most precious resource. If you have traded enough time for money, don't take your money to invest into something that requires all of your time as well. Because you're going to get it's going to be overwhelming. And investing in real estate, investing in general, okay, should not create more stress for you. Where you put your money, it should relieve stress. It should give you more freedom. Give you more freedom to travel, give you more freedom to do the things that you want to do, give you more freedom to spend time with your family, with your wife. If you take on 10 more properties of single family, and I know this personal experience too, that this is, it's overwhelming. I know people that are just like, screw it, I'm selling everything. Like they don't even care. They don't want to spend that type of time anymore. And so you want to, we can speak offline as well, but I want you to think about when you're going to invest in your next deal. I don't want to lose sleep over it. I don't want to spend extra time in it. That means a deal either has to sustain itself. Like I was sharing earlier, when you have more units, there's more daily operations that you can outsource. All right, life, we should figure out how to live a life where we can outsource everything.
Yeah.
Okay, anything that we invest into, it's got to sustain itself. It's got to provide enough income where it will sustain itself. Okay, even if I take much less returns on the cash, what you want to do in real estate is you want to have positive cash flow, and what you're really capturing is the appreciation of the property. All right, so in single family, anything under 4 units, the appreciation, the value of the property is based on the market, how it's selling, what are comps that are selling around the same price. And this is the game most people are playing in. But when you start to get more than 5 units, 10 units, 15, 20, 32 units, these are deals where banks are looking at how much money can it be generated? How is the operations of this building? Okay, if it's got a track record of 100% occupation, okay, and also it's generating whatever the net operating income is, they'll give you an evaluation based on that. So that's why when Bernie was sharing, he's got a great deal. It is a great deal because it's $400 below market. That means he can raise the rents. That means immediately when he raises those rents, the property value goes from a certain number that you buy it from, and it goes up. Okay. And then you take the cash back out, and then you just kind of do it again and again and again. But 72 units, he's definitely only going to have to keep a pulse on the management company. Managing the management company is 1,000,000 times less work than managing the property. Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah. Everybody here, if you're thinking about investing in real estate, that's what you want to look at when you're buying a piece of real estate, is how can it sustain, can it first bring enough cash flow to have a property manager? Okay, and if you're like, yeah, I got a property manager, he makes like $200 a month. What kind of property manager is that? Like if you got a single family house that gives you a cash flow that of, you know, $900, and you're like, okay, I can pay $200 for property management. Yeah, the cash flow is decent, but it's 700, and this property manager is not going to do much property management for you. All right, maybe they'll call. I've dealt with so many, like I've rented a lot of single family houses myself, and also a lot of my friends. When we reach out to the property management company to do things, nothing gets done. Like toilets will stay messed up for like a long time. There will be leaks that they don't fix, pool problems that they just won't fix. They're like, oh, we got to get in touch with the owner first. And then like they're getting paid $200 a month. They're not going to go out and work that hard for you. Now, if you have 32 units and you're paying them $3,000 a month, now that's something that they're going to be like, I don't want to lose this property. I want to be management for this property. You know, so like the 72 unit deal, $1.2 million is the gross. That means they're probably paying $100,000 a year for management. A management company will pay attention if you're paying them $100,000 a year.
And they're getting 121.
Yeah, 121. So, I mean, if I was a property management company, I wouldn't really want to lose that. I'm going to perform. You know, now not everybody's the same, and I won't say that that's how every property management will do, but your job as a general partner is to vet the property management company. Okay. And then for you, think about, I want everybody to think about this too. When you're about to invest in real estate, you rather have a piece, a small percentage of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. All right. So bigger deals, play on a team, make this a team game. So, and it's funner. Like when you do it with a team, like it's you learn to trust. And that's one of the, for me personally, that's one of the biggest things that I practice in life is learning to trust, learning to let go of control. And that way I can be in Peru. So yeah, I wish this for everybody, to be able to let go of some control and to trust a little bit deeper, our capacity to trust a little bit deeper, and think bigger. If you want to invest in real estate, think bigger, think beyond what you can accomplish on your own. Because think about it. Even Franco was sharing earlier about, okay, I took out $40,000. Everybody is competing for $40,000 type of deals, for $100,000 type of deals. But if you're going for a team game and you're going to invest in a $21 million property, you're not competing with that many people. And you will, I mean, once you're in this business long enough, you'll see that there is a lot of competition, and we are left with kind of scraps from companies that are like Blackstone and all the big insurance companies that just scoop everything up. They just write a check and buy 10 buildings. But there's still tons of great deals, much less competitive than if you're trying to find a $350,000 property. Everybody's fighting for that. All right, so yeah, we'll talk more offline, but thank you for the question and allowing us to get to where we are in this conversation. Go ahead, Bernie.
Thank you, sir.
Did you want to say something else?
I had one more question about the interest rates. What are your thoughts, and anybody on this call, what are your thoughts about where the interest rates are going? Because that was one of our biggest concerns is, you know, making sure when we underwrite that we're covering in case, you know, it goes up a couple points before we close.
Yeah, it probably will happen. So that way, you know, this is if this is an issue for you though, it's an issue for everybody. So it's going to be an issue for a seller. So you want to be like on the back end of somebody's deal falling through, and you're like, all right, let's go. Now let's get into negotiations. And you want to cover yourself, because when you can buy a cap to where the interest rate's going to be. Like you're like, that's it. You underwrite at that number. And if it makes sense, and if you can grab that deal with everything being as conservative as possible, highest interest rate that you can possibly hit, you know, because you can buy the cap, and you buy a cap, which is also part of your raise on the deal, you know,
Right.
but it's also, it must cash flow. So that means you have to buy this property at a number that makes sense. And if you can, so real estate is amazing because every number you can almost get to the T of exactly how the property is going to perform. You can almost guarantee the returns to your, I don't want to say guarantee, but you can almost to your investors based on how it's performing, based on the most conservative way. This is why most of the times when we do real estate, probably every single one of my deals, we've outperformed the numbers that we predicted, our numbers that we give to our investors. We destroy those numbers.
Of course.
Because we underwrite so conservatively. And this is why it's super important for you to do that, and then also be willing to walk away from deals.
Right. Now, the
Because
other thing, I mean, if we're going no interest up front for the first 2 or 3 years, the interest rate really doesn't matter.
Well, it does still, but interest only, because you're still paying a higher interest rate. So even the interest only is going to be higher than normal. You're paying no principal, but the interest still matters. It matters a lot. So, yeah, you'll see. I mean, an easy way to look at it is interest rate being if your cap rate is at 5 and your interest rate's at 7 point something, you're probably looking at a almost even or negative cash flow on that. You know, so what you're looking for is positive cash flow, and then let's capture the appreciation. You know, real estate, that interest only,
Okay.
So a couple things to look at when you're looking to lower your monthly payments. Okay. Interest only allows you to not pay principal. We're paying the principal up front already. So interest only is at this number, adding principal will make it up here, and your income that you can generate has to be above it. Okay, it has to be above that. Now, another way to lower it is the amortization table that they give you for your deal, because some banks might say we're only giving you 20-year amortization. That means your loan is stretched into a 20-year loan type of payment, even though the loan's only going to be like 5 years, but it's 20 years. The numbers will be based on 20 years. But if you can get 25 years or 30 years, now your monthly payment goes down because it's based on a 25-year loan instead of 20. So the numbers come down. So those are some of the important numbers to know. Other ones to look at is the interest only terms. Okay, interest only terms, because you don't want to run out of time. You don't want to be on the second year and be like, oh crap, the principal is going to kick in, and now we're going to be definitely in the negative cash flow, because that's going to come if principal hits and you're not in a space to be able to refinance during this time and get new loan terms.
Right.
This is where people will find troubles. So you might want to try and get, one of the most important things we go for is, I want longer interest only terms. And then I also want maybe another 12 months like that we can add to it. You know, if we have to pay up front to make that happen, then you got to calculate that into your deal. And then also the other part is maybe you got to put 35%, 40%, 45% down for a deal so that you can get the positive cash flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Go ahead, Franco.
Hey guys, a little bit of patience as I'm not as an expert like you guys, but going back to my situation, I have decided to wait until September 1st so that I could find a property. And the reason why is because I'm renewing the contract with my current tenant. I'm actually raising $300 a month, and he still has 30 days to respond to that. So I don't want to take the risk yet to buy a property and then have two properties that I'm paying off out of pocket. I do have some savings from renting it for the past 3 years, but still, I'm trying to be conservative. Do you think that, Alex, that's a good move given that interest rates might go up, or should I just look at deals? Like right now, I'm looking at deals. Any property that will give me some sort of good cash flow, especially I'm looking at Airbnb renting right now, and most likely it won't be in Miami. It will probably be in Orlando. I'm actually been thinking in Vegas, given the success that you had there. What are your thoughts with this move? Do you think that I should wait or just go with whatever good deal I find right now?
I think unless you have a team wherever you're going to be at, that you're going to buy the property, you should, if you're going to buy another property close enough to you where you can check up on it and do something about it. You don't want, given the limited experience that you have and the limited amount of money you have, you don't want a problem to occur in Orlando, okay, where you're like, crap, that's a 4-hour drive for me, you know, and something's happening there and I don't have the team in place to be able to do that. Okay, training a team and having a team in place is not the, especially for just a single family home, even if it's Airbnb, it's not the simplest thing to do.
Okay.
You know, I would buy something that's close to you if that's the route that you want to go. And I wouldn't wait till September 1st. I would continue to look for deals, because think about it, if you're analyzing deals, and if you've been analyzing deals for the past 6 months, you would know right now in this moment if you saw a deal that you need to grab right now. You know, so if let's just say you wait till September 1st, you're like, okay, I want to wait till September 1st. From now to September 1st, you gotta be analyzing and underwriting deals constantly. And again, no different than commercial real estate, conservative underwriting. All right. Don't buy into anybody saying, oh, this place generates $95,000 in short-term rental income, so you should buy it. You know, like that's a plus for the seller side. Okay. If you're a seller, yes, put those things in your sales pitch of your deal. But if you're buying, you want to look at this deal based on long-term rental. All right. Like, how much can I generate if I got a long-term tenant in here? All right. Also, you got to factor in 1 or 2 months or 1 month at least of vacancy on those deals. So if you have a $3,000 mortgage and you're only making $600 a month from this property, one vacancy for 1 month will eat up 5 months of your income on this property.
Yeah.
This is the reason why single families are a little bit more risky and intensive on the management part.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear right now. Because right now my apartment, I saved up enough money to that. Okay, let's say this tenant leaves, he doesn't want to renew. I could, using the savings that I put apart, I could totally take care of like 2 months, which is what I put set aside. So I'm still in a low level of like investment right now, but I do want to be conservative. If I want to get into multifamily, you will say partner with someone, right? Like I'm assuming that will be your suggestion. Partner with someone, right? Because if multifamily can be more expensive than that.
So you have people like myself and Bernie who are like general partners. That means we find the big deal and then we raise the money for the down payment for the deal. And then we have a certain return that we give to our investors. Now, those are types of deals that if you invest into, you lose no sleep. Doesn't matter where it is in the country. Because you're like, here's my money's going to work for me. I'm going to continue on with my life, do my job. You know, I don't got to worry about tenants, this and that. And I don't have to save reserves for it. So that's, you know, that's the way that I invest now.
Okay.
You know, like anyone,
You buying time.
you
Basically.
buy the time back and you allow the property to work for itself. You allow your money to work for itself. Maybe you're getting 6, 7, 8% returns for the year, but that is 6, 7, 8% that you're getting back without losing 1 hour of sleep, without wasting any extra mind energy to it. And then all of a sudden you get 2, 3 years later, 4 years, this deal is ready to refinance out and you get the entire amount of $44,000 back out, plus you're still in the deal. And then now you're like, oh, great. Let's just take this 44, go do it again in another deal. So now you got 2 deals going, and eventually your cash flow becomes 50,000, 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year. This is, and then this is scalable. What you want to do is not a scalable thing. And I learned it the hard way myself as well. Every dollar that I have now is saved to invest with another syndicator, another person doing the same thing I'm doing. Obviously, I want to invest with people that are further ahead of the game than me. But you got to know in this game, that is the best place to learn real estate because you learn it in a very safe environment. You learn it with more people and you learn it at a much larger scale. When we saw all of this stuff happening in multifamily deals, and then the stuff happened in single family. Like it always trickles down from the size of the business that you're doing, size of the deal that you have. It starts trickling down. People at the top, they feel it's almost like having a globe. What are those things called where you can see the future? But
the crystal balls.
Yeah, it's almost like having a crystal ball when you're doing bigger deals with more people and with people that are at a higher level. They experience it. They feel it first. They have more insider information from the brokers and from the bankers. And then it starts to trickle down and it starts to hurt the single family. It starts to hurt the average people that are, excuse me, that are buying homes and small investments.
So just go big. That's basically your advice.
I mean, yes, that's
Go big and go bigger.
go bigger, go bigger. Yeah, exactly. Because look, even think about it. If you are to walk into a room, let's say you go to a network meeting, a network meeting place, okay? You're like, oh, yeah, a real estate networking place. I got 2 units, you know, I got 2 apartments that I bought. You know, I'm doing really well with it. It's paying this and that. Or if you're like, I got 205 units in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
I mean,
even
the conversation that you can see, this is about leverage.
I get it now.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
I have a property that
more
gives me
interesting.
1,000. Yeah. I have one property that gives me $1,000 passive income, or having 200 properties that gives me $200.
Whatever it is, but you leverage that conversation, you leverage that deal to now people are like, ooh, Franco's more interesting. What is Franco doing? And at the same time, if you're invested in a smaller deal where there's less investors, more attention could be paid on to you, which means you can ask any question about how the operation works, how the loan works, how's it going in the property, what are you guys doing? And you're learning, you know, in a very safe way. You're not learning at the expense of like, shit, I got to pay all the attention to this single family house, you know, all of this happening. You're learning like 200 units at a time, 40 units at a time, whatever it is, you know, 24 units, even at 24 units, 32 units, those are all still great places to learn.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else? Okay, so one more thing that I want to share is something that I'm working on in my book. Okay, and I have these 8 pillars that has, I reflected back on my life and on what has been working for me, and I do want to share this with the group. Is the 8 pillars that next leveled my life, allowed me to live in freedom and prosperity, in an amazing, loving relationship, being able to be free. And so the first is mentors. Okay, like along the way, you got to find mentors. Mentors give you the ability to save time, save money. I talk about when I opened my restaurant. I mean, I didn't have to lose $400,000. That was an expensive lesson I learned in that. But if I had the right mentors in the beginning, I maybe would not open a restaurant. But even if I did, I probably would have a successful franchise at this point. Something like that, because I would learn the mindset that it takes and what a restaurant takes. But I just decided to do it on my own, save some money up front without having to hire a consultant or a mentor. Costed me a lot. All right, so now everything from learning the guitar to anything that I want to do, I find a mentor for, because I want the shortcut. I don't want to make this. You don't have to make the same mistakes. So these are like, we consider them like the helpful people in your life. And you will become somebody else's mentor. You will be the helpful person to somebody else at some point. So like begin that cycle, finding a mentor, becoming a mentor. All right. We talked about leverage already. Leverage is huge. Okay, leverage is one of the pillars that I try to figure out how to leverage everything all the time. Leverage myself, my partners, anybody that I'm working with, and it's all about leverage. Attitude. Okay, that's the third pillar. Attitude is like a skill, like a self-cultivating practice of like, my attitude is always, how do I find the golden nugget? How do I, if it's to be, it's up to me. Like, it's not like everywhere that I go to, I'm going to a Grant Cardone's conference on the 11th of July. And I'm not going to go there thinking, all right, Grant, let's see what you got for me. Okay, I was here last year. I want to see something different. Give me something new. But I want to be in that place like I am the one that's going to create the value here. And that's the attitude. The other one is proximity. Proximity is who is your support system? Who are you surrounding yourself with? I know that for me, if I'm around people that smoke cigarettes, I end up smoking cigarettes. If I'm with people that are working out all the time, I tend to be more fit. If I'm around people that are willing to spend $30,000 for their own personal growth, then growth is probably most likely to happen for me, right? The next one is the next life-changing deal. And this is something that Grant taught us. And it's not just a real estate deal. He talks about the next real estate deal, but I'm talking about the next action step for you. For me, the next life-changing deal is a book that I'm writing. And this is part of it. And I just wanted to share with everybody. The sixth one is consistency. Consistency is like it's part of like building a reputation too. And when you are consistent, you give people the opportunity to see who you really are. And it's a practice of discipline for yourself. It's a strong practice for ourselves. And the seventh one is partnerships. Partnerships is the relationships that we build. How do we build them? What's the purpose of partnerships? Is my partnerships set up in a way that we are focused on one vision? Okay, that we are going somewhere together. One of my favorite quotes is that if all parties involved are moving forward together, success will take care of itself. That's Henry Ford. So how are your partnerships? Are your partnerships like a I gain and you lose type of partnership, or is this partnership truly a I only gain if you gain? And then start to develop that in all areas of your life. I have a great partner that I just recently partnered with, Nick, who's on this call. He's 16 years old. And I get the privilege to be able to be his mentor in this game. And he's helping me do the things that I don't want to do. I want to focus on content creation. He's watching these videos, breaking them down, making smaller videos for me, coming to the conference with me, going to be filming, doing video stuff, all that stuff that I don't want to do. Social media, video creation. That's a lot of time consumption, a lot of time. He's trading his time for my experience. And then we're going to do real estate deals together. And we've formed a company where both parties are going to gain. If I gain, he gains. If he gains, I gain. That's the type of relationships I want to build, because I could go and hire somebody else who's, maybe have a lot of, who's very experienced in this field and pay $5,000 a month. But I don't want to create a relationship where it's, I pay you one time for work that you work one time. That's not consistent to the message that I'm delivering, which is stop trading time for money. Okay. So partnerships, like start to develop partnerships in that way. It could be in any area of your life. And then the final part, which is the best part and the funnest part, taps into our creativity, is the game plan. What's the game plan? What's the game plan to exit the rat race, to upstream my life? What's the game plan? And in order to figure out the game plan, I got to be surrounded by people that have game plans. Not a short-sighted game plan, but a real game plan. And then I can start to take pieces from the things that I'm surrounded by and create a game plan for myself. Because we're all at different stages in different areas of our lives. That means our game plans are going to look a little bit different. Some of us might be able to just take a bunch of money, invest it into a real estate deal, and start to become free. Some of us have to learn to analyze deal and trade our time to get on a team. Some people can just trade their experience and be on a team. But all of those things come together and give us the 8 pillars that will create financial freedom. And that's what has worked for me. And I will begin to focus on those things more in the upcoming calls in the future. So, yeah. Anybody else want? Yeah.
How long until the recording is available from tonight's call?
Probably it'll be there by tomorrow morning.
Okay. And if people want to join, because there's a couple of people here that I invited, how do they join onto your Facebook group?
I'll send you an invite link.
Okay, and then I can just forward it to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Appreciate
yeah, that's somewhere. Usually Anastasia, my other partner, is here. That will just be like, she's ahead of me.
All right, yeah, so just send it to me on the Facebook message, and I'll grab it from there.
Yeah, will do.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to jump in a minute because we've got a call with a sponsor here at 8:30. Thank you.
Awesome. Good luck with that. Anybody else have any last minute questions, thoughts before we conclude this call?
Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Alex, long time no see.
Hey there.
I'm like, I finally made it. So I just have something interesting to share today. I went and walked a property here in San Diego.
Sweet.
So they showed me, well, I got to see, because it's a live-in property manager. So I got to see his unit because he invited me in. while I waited. So they told the property manager that there was going to be an inspection at 2, but it wasn't an inspection. It was me, the buyer. The property manager didn't even know that they were selling.
Yeah.
And then they took me to look at one of the units, and it was a unit that they were repairing. I guess they probably didn't have any other units to look at, but it was one that they were repairing, and there was like a hole dug in the floor because there was a pipe that busted. So there was like a bunch of debris everywhere. So it was just a really interesting experience on how the property looked. And they've known that I was coming since like last Friday or something. So
Yeah.
so that was kind of, and then one of the like other little red flags, the sellers just bought the property last year in January, and it's a value add.
Mhm.
So they didn't do anything to fix it up during that time frame. And when I asked what the why they're selling, like the broker didn't want to tell me in front of the property manager and his supervisor. So it's a completely different experience from the other one that I went and looked at, where they were just like an open book.
Yeah. So those actually, sometimes those produce an opportunity as well, because the reason why a lot of times people go into value add deals, they have very, very, very short loan terms. Okay. And one of the reasons that people can get into trouble is when they run out of time, which is like, all right, we were supposed to do value add, and the market was supposed to be still really good, and we should be able to make some money. Now interest rates are higher. People can't just buy this deal, and they can't sell it, but they're stuck because maybe their loan is over, or maybe the principal is about to kick in, whatever it is, and they're going to start losing money. Those are all
It's a debt
opportunities.
assumption. Yeah, it's a debt assumption. The interest rate is 2.84%. So it's like ridiculously low.
Yeah, but how much long? Like, you want to look at the whole debt itself, like how long do they have left and stuff.
They have to hold it for, it's 10 years. They had to hold it, the loan.
I mean, they don't have to hold it for 10 years, but how long is the interest only? Like, you just be able to know that a little bit.
I don't think it's interest only. They didn't put that it was interest only on the paperwork. So the last one they did, they put like when the interest only ended. So,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
that's
I'll
really
look more.
Yeah, cool, awesome. I'm glad you're still walking properties and walking deals. You're doing great.
Yeah, eventually I'll get one.
Let me know how I can help you.
Alrighty.
Cool.
That's it for me.
So, all right. Yeah, thank you, everybody. We're gonna conclude here. You can reach out to me privately, join the Facebook group, and we'll do this again next Monday. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Alex.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Alex.
Take
Bye. Thank
care,
you.
everybody.